So in this video, I'm going to take apart my main system here that's got the accumulator tank, the pump down the bottom that goes to the pressure switch and then goes out. And what I'm going to do is take this all apart and we're going to reassemble it in pieces together like that, okay? So let me get this together and we'll do it. So a quick note, I'm going to be using this pump, but I'm going to use my Aerobox because I want to use the switch on it so I can turn it on and off. I've had this Aerobox over a year now. It's all dirty, full of cat hair crap, but the thing's a tank and it still works. So I like it because I have my switch on the side here. So the in and out on here, right, in, out, think of that as your in and then out on the pump, okay? That would be the only difference in what I'm setting up here, just because I want to be able to utilize a switch so I don't have to go and plug this in and unplug it, okay? So when you buy a reservoir off of us, or off of me, what they come, this is a used one obviously, and the way that they come is they have a 100 mesh bag on them, and that bag goes to a T like this. That way it can grab liquid out of two different areas and it's getting filtered ahead of time with this bag, which you can just easily clean off. That goes through there and then that comes out to the 3/8 right here. And it's a nice solid fit in there. It doesn't leak. It's made to hold water. I'm not really changing anything, so that's the great thing about it. It tells you how many gallons you're doing. So that's how the reservoir comes. And if you want, you can ask. I can easily put some kind of fitting up top here if you want. I just got a 1/2 inch quick fitting here. And you can always do that if you want. Just let me know. As you can see here, I put the reservoirs on top of the main system just so that you get that added gravitational pull on it. My other setup back there for this tent, you can see I have the whole system just sitting in that corner, okay? And when you got it set up and dialed in, this whole container of nutrients will run for 5 days in one direction. 6 days, 7 days actually. All fresh nutrients in one direction. That's with 1 to 2 seconds on, every 5 minutes off on your spray cycle. So the first thing I do is I'm going to hook up this line down to here, to the reducer, and then that's going to go right to my sediment filter. Make sure you have the flow going towards, because it's going in, right? I would say that, or no, for a fact, you don't want to go more than 2 feet. So if this is sitting on the ground, your pump in here, or a pump in general, it usually has 2 feet of a limit of pull on it. So it'll only suck about 2 feet of length, of distance, okay? So to get around that, if you want, just place it up high, and then you've got that weight of the water pushing down into the system. And now, so I got it going filtered. I want everything going into the motor here. I want to make sure that the nutrients are super clean. So I'm going to go on the in, on here. I don't know if I can hold the camera and do this. Hold on. So I'm going on the in and out, which would be the in on your pump, right? Make sure that's in there good. And then on my out, right? My out, I'm going to run straight to my actual chambers. Now the big thing again on the out is you want to make sure that you're not running more than 2 feet. So when I have the mister set up right here, I'm going to get going, I don't want it going, I don't want the solenoid, once it's set up, to go further than 2 feet, okay? So my whole loop that I'm going to make on the inside of my buckets here, this whole loop, I don't want it to be more than 2 feet where the solenoid sits, okay? I'll show you how I do that. Now, you're going to want a way to release the pressure whenever you need to inside of your system. So I'm just going to grab a line here, and I'm going to go to the out on here, which would be the out on your pump, right? So the in is going this way with the arrow, that's the blue there, and then the out, what's up buddy, how you doing? And then the out's going to go out through here, okay? And I'm doing the same, but it's inside this box here, just making it easier on myself because I want to use the switch and not have to walk away. So I'm going to hook this up into the out now. Am I in camera here? Okay. I'm going to put that into the out, make sure it's in there good. And then that I'm going to run over to another setup, which is now I've got a DM filter in line. These are cool because you can just unscrew it, clean out the filter really easily. I'm using a stem tee. Like that, okay? So I use that part. You don't have to, but I just use it to get in there, right? So now you got your line running, and I've got this set up over here, right? And this is going to be my release, so I can let out the pressure when I need to, okay? So, a couple things have to happen here. Since I'm coming out, I need to first pressurize the accumulator tank over here, right? And the accumulator tank is going to be the muscle for everything. Since it has stored energy inside the bladder in here, which ahead of time I did, you just want to take it, open this guy up, right? And when there's nothing inside of here, you pre-pressurize this to the pressure that you want it set at. So I think I have this set around 60 or 40 to 60 psi. That means it's always going to be pushing out 60 psi at all times. That's what I want, okay? So we want to run this in line with the line that's going out, okay? Which I can easily do by clicking this into here, okay? Now I've got this tank is in line, right? It's got a pressure gauge, it's gonna tell me, right? And now I'm gonna run this line to the setup that I had going to go into here, okay? So let me clip this one. What's up, Carly? I got all the kitties in here. Again, the shorter the distance all this is, the way better it is, okay? Now, you can put another inline filter if you want, like the inline down here. You can put another one of those filters in here if you want. You don't have to. And I put the DM just as extra, okay? So, now this is running on a T right here. So, see how I got the T set up? That T just goes quickly into here. And now, the bladder tank will fill up and give me the pressure that I need to run my buckets. Now, when I set up the buckets, again, I'm trying to keep it down to 2 feet, right? I don't want to go, oops, sorry. I don't want to go over 2 feet on my setup here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect all the hosing, or the tubing, as easily as I can to make a loop in here. I want this to be the inside loop. If you can kind of notice it, think about it. This is going to be a small loop in here on a solenoid, and that's going to spray out to each one of the 4 misters, right? And by having the small loop, I don't want to dead end it. You want everything to be in a loop so that when it pressurizes from the left and from the right at the same time, okay? I'm going to set this up for you guys. Can I put it on here? Let me see. Alright, hopefully that's a better setup for you guys. Yeah, people, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to hook in, we'll start back here. Now, obviously that's too long. Again, I want to make it as short as possible, okay? And you don't want it to kink either. You see that? Now imagine you've got that circle usually sitting inside of a container, maybe, right? And you have that spraying inwards, but here I'm reversing it. Everything's going to spray outwards, okay? Okay, I'm trying my best to get everything in here for you, everybody. So now we've got the solenoid running through here, right? And now I'm going to set that up with these two guys that I have hanging off here. Now notice I'm not using a T. It's very important. Don't use a T, because a T will go in and then wants to go out at a 90-degree angle. This is splitting it and going still smoother that way, right? So all I'm going to do is just simply hook these guys in there. 1, 2. Now, maybe you can get a better idea and see how the whole system works. See that nice short little loop in there? That short little loop is going to make it so that all the misters get about the same amount of pressure whenever the mister clicks. So let's get the solenoid hooked up. Okay, now I'm going to take a AC to DC adapter, alright? Cell phone ones work sometimes, it matters. Clip off the end, because you might have some kind of, tip and cathode at the end, right? So the whatever has the striped white on it or has the lettering on it, I usually pick that as a negative and try it. I start there first, which would be the black wire from the solenoid here, right? That will go with this guy. Sorry about that. And then, obviously, the red one with the remaining. The other one. Make sure you're going AC to DC, direct current, okay? I've gotten these solenoids before. I've gotten these guys to go down to about 6 volts. They'll still kick for you. So if you're like off the grid, car battery, things like that, actually work pretty good. And I'm going to use a near-pow timer. Let me just show you quickly how to use one. They have 2 different kinds. This is the newer one. I like this one better. And what you can do is you can switch through the different modes on it. Let me see how close I can get here for you guys. There, people. Get that out of the way. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'll go through my modes here. And I got off, on, timed cycle. That's the one that I want, right? Back to on, off, right? Timed, off. So once I get to timed cycle, I'm going to hit set, right? And now I've got my seconds over here and I've got my minutes. The seconds, I got it on 2 seconds on right now, and that's what I like, right? And I'm going to hit, actually I'm going to change this to 1 second so I can show you guys better. If you just hold it down, it'll scroll through it quick. So I'm having it on for 1 second and then off so I can show you guys how it works. So I'll hit set again to set my off. I had it at 5 minutes. I want to get that minute off of there, so I'm going to scroll through here, get rid of the minutes. Alright, so now I got 1 second over there. Now I just hit confirm and it's working. Clicking on, off. See it? On, off, on, off. And now, all I need to do is just plug in my adapter and hear it. You can hear this clicking. Okay, so let's not have that happening. And let me get some fluids going here. Alright, so let's get it going. We're going to open the valve. That's going to open up the nutrients now. That's going down through the filter and going in and then coming back out to the green. What I want to do here is, now that I got this going like this, and I got this running up to here, what I do now is I'm going to let off of some of that air pressure, right? There's a bubble of air pressure probably built up inside of there ahead of time. So I'm going to want to let that out, right? Once I get this going. So I'll come over here, and what would be equivalent to you plugging it in, I'm just going to flip my switch on. All right? There you go. So, remember I said you got to keep that hose off of there? Now this guy, I want to bleed off a little pressure. Okay, so I bled off some of that extra air out of this tube. I'll just put that here for now because I don't want to step on it. Don't leave this laying on the ground. You step on this thing and walk away, it's a nightmare. So now my tank is filling up with pressure. Notice how quiet it is? And the solenoid's over there. I had the solenoid still plugged in before, so that was what was going off. So I'll give it a couple minutes here to fill up and I'll come right back, okay? Okay, so my pump stopped and the accumulator tank is now full. It's a little bit higher than 40 psi. It was where I want it because I am using my 40 psi nozzles in here, right? And now all I have to do is get the timer going, which is set up, right? And we're gonna go through it. It's on, remember the modes, so I'll go through my modes. That's on, off. That's a quick way to watch. If you wanna see if everything's working, just click it on. Cool, it's working. But back to putting it on time cycle. Time cycle. Again, I'll have to set it up, right? So I'll hit set. If you get a power outage, make sure you come back and set this again. Sometimes it doesn't get happy. So I like that. 1 second on, set again, and 1 second off. And then I'm gonna hit confirm. And now it should start clicking on 1 second off. I'm getting the camera wet. Obviously, this is not the timing that you want to have it set on. And notice, I still get one bucket that gets a little bit less than other ones. And that's that one. Okay, now let me show you guys, or people, sorry, how I would do the return on this. That would be down in this part here, alright? I'm not sure if you want to take a look, but that's the line. That's how I build it, okay? That's going to be my whole return line setup. And this guy over here is going to go up to the nutrients, and then this will block it so the nutrients can't go back into the buckets, but the nutrients can go this way, right? So when I want to start recirculating the system, I can shut off this one, right? And open this guy, and then that will let the fluid back in from the bottom of the buckets. And let me set this up. I'm going to put it into the bottom of these buckets here. Set it in there. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. And then I'll catch up with you guys after that. Alright, I want you to take notice of what I did. So, obviously I just popped in the quick connect T's and stuff for the bottom there. And I came down to that valve right there, that ball valve to the T. Now, what I did was I've got this going down into here. So now when I open up my reservoir, right, now I got fluid. It can't go that way, it's got to go this way, which is going back again to the filter right here, right? And that filter is going to the in of the pump. Then coming back out, I come up, and now I'm into here, going into the tank, coming out to the solenoid, right? So what would happen is I can close off these nutrients right here, and I can open this valve over here, which would feasibly be letting all this fluid in these buckets now come back through there and get sucked back through the filter again, back in, right? Now watch what happens though if I open up this valve and that valve. These nutrients are gonna push back into my buckets, which you don't want to do. Which you can easily fix as well by just putting a check valve. If you put a quick check valve in here, which I do sometimes, then the check valve will only let it go one direction. So I usually have it so I can only pull towards the system, not out. Because see what's happening now? I'm just letting all my nutrients out. So the trick is you want to have about a half gallon in each one of these buckets when you're recirculating, so that when it sucks all the liquid out of the buckets, it's not sucking in air. So I'm going to shut this down again because obviously I don't want to drain all my good nutrients into my buckets. But that's all it is. So hopefully I helped everybody out. Leave comments, let me know what you need to know, and I'll try my best to help everybody out. Yeah, we're all in it together. Let's just try to figure stuff out. Think independently. Good luck.